Hi, welcome back to 1,000 Hours in Scripture. My name is Dana, and this is day 17. Hi all! For those that are just joining us or just found these videos, this channel we are working to spend 1,000 hours in the study of Scripture this year. If that sounds interesting to you, the first two videos that I posted give a little bit more detail on how we're going to accomplish that, what we're measuring, and why I'm even doing this. So if you're new or unfamiliar with the videos, go check those out, and I hope that you will stick around and join us. For those that have been already following along, I'm happy to say that things are much improved from the last video. So I know last video I was feeling pretty discouraged and not very motivated, and thankfully pulled through. The second half of the week was a lot better, and I was able to get a whole lot more study in and kind of push through that hard patch. So the Lord was gracious. I had prayed about that, and He definitely answered that prayer. So I'm sure it won't be the last low spot, but hopefully it'll get easier and easier as we continue on. So one thing that was super encouraging this week was we actually got a comment on one of the videos. So that was very encouraging, and I'll actually put up a little screenshot of it here. Just the fact that somebody took the time to leave a suggestion and, take time out of their day to help me improve these videos, it really meant a lot. So thank you for leaving that, and I am going to take the advice. Originally, and I have mentioned this before, originally I did not really intend on pushing these videos at all. That's just not why I'm making them. In fact, I think I've even said, they'll find who they need to find. But after reading that suggestion, it kind of did occur to me, well, there might be people searching for videos like this. So yeah, maybe I should at least try to get them a little bit more searchable in case anybody is out there, searching in YouTube for people reading scripture. So I am going to take the suggestion. So thank you for leaving it. It was super encouraging, and I appreciate that. Okay, let's jump right into the tracker first this week. So I'm going to look at my copy here. I'll also, again, put up the copy on the side here. Now, due to space, I'm going to kind of have to hide the individual rows of categories. You'll just be able to see the totals again. But as you look at that, you can see Tuesday was a big fat 0. That actually was not intentional. My husband and I just decided to have a little bit of a stay-at-home date night, and before I knew it, it was bedtime, and I had completely forgotten to read my Bible or anything. So that was rough day. But Wednesday, we picked up a little bit. We got up to 116 minutes that day, and then you can actually see that yesterday, Friday, was fantastic. Now that was largely, I know you can't see the categories, but that was largely because of sermon audio. So yesterday I just had the ability, work was very slow, wasn't a lot going on, so I was able to just kind of listen to sermons while I did some administrative work. So I was able to listen to 3 different sermons. So that was 152 minutes on sermon audio. So that was a whole big chunk of that 194. The rest of that time was split between my 10 chapters of Bible reading and then my devotional. So I will call out, I'm still very much struggling. We're struggling with family worship, and I'm still struggling with that personal prayer time too. Not that we're not doing anything with the kids or as a family. They've actually been reading the Bible with me, which I love, and it's fun. I'm glad they want to do that. So, we're not just abandoning all teaching and instruction in the house, but we have not been doing that consistent time, and we're both convicted of it, and we know we have to get back to it. So that's definitely something that's still weighing on us, and we are just not successfully getting that back into a routine. It's kind of sporadic. We're not, it's not being skipped every day, but sporadic. The other thing I've really struggled with is that personal prayer time. So traditionally, I have always done my personal prayer time and my Bible reading in the evening. So, after kids are in bed, after everything's quieted down, I sit down, I read my Bible, and then I spend, 20 to 30 minutes in prayer. And this year I have changed that. And part of that was for this goal. And I can't remember if I've already mentioned this, but I changed it this year to make sure that I was getting my Bible reading in. And what I changed was just reading whenever. So if the kids, if I'm trying to put the kids to bed, waiting on them to get out of their showers, I read the Bible while they're in the shower. If I have a few minutes in the morning that I, am not busy, I read the Bible then. It's just I'm reading when I have the time versus waiting for that time at the end of the day, because frequently what would happen is we'd get to the end of the day and all of a sudden we're tired or it's late or we had something come up, and it was far too easy to kind of be like, oh, well, not tonight then. So moving that around and reading the Bible as soon as I can has really helped me be consistent with it. But the downside is I am not doing the prayer time. My prayer time, I have to focus. I have to pray out loud or my mind like instantly wanders. I'm like that squirrel in that movie, Ice Age. I think it's a squirrel. Anyway, so I have to pray out loud. So I prefer to do that in a quiet place alone. And obviously if I'm reading the Bible while my kids are in the shower, the other kids are playing around the house, running around, whatever, not conducive to prayer. So I'm kind of stuck, because if I go back to reading my Bible at the end of the day, I'm concerned I won't be as consistent with it. But how do I get myself in the consistency of that extra prayer time? And I don't have an answer. So I'm continuing to pray about it, and I hope that you'll pray for me as well. It's definitely one of those situations where like the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. I know I need to do it. Like all my little prayers throughout the day are good and dandy, but I need that time, that dedicated time, and I'm just not hitting it. So anyway, enough about that. Now I do have the Bible study coming up this Monday, and I mentioned that before. I have it, it's once a month. So you'll see quite a bit of like Bible study time coming up today, tomorrow, and probably also Monday. And that's just because we do have that session. So I'll be focusing on 2 chapters in Proverbs, and I'd have to check the schedule. I do not remember which 2 chapters it is. But you'll see that pop into the tracker, and I'm hoping that'll help me catch up a little bit too. Because if you look at the total, we're supposed to be at just over 2,600 minutes spent in scripture so far, and I'm only at 1,800, so yikes, it is super far behind. So hopefully that'll help me catch up a little bit. So, all right, well, that's the tracker for this week. I did want to share that I've made it through a few more books of the Bible. So this is my little tracker that I use to keep track of what chapters I'm reading in scripture every day. And I've gotten through this week. I think I finished 1 Timothy and Romans. Yeah, 1 Timothy and Romans I finished this week. Tomorrow I'll finish 2 Timothy. So that was exciting. I mentioned a video or two ago. I think at the end of the month I'm going to kind of put up a little graphic so I can see like how many times, like what books have I gone through once, twice, 3 times, so I can kind of see it over the course of the year. So, but that was exciting. Every time you get through another book, and it's only January 17th, so that's pretty fun. One thing I did want to share today was something in my Spurgeon devotional. So this was from the 15th, I think. Let me scroll back real quick. Yes, the evening of the 15th. So the evening of the 15th, it's talking about David and his prayer, particularly, of course, in the book of Psalms. And there were just a few quotes that Spurgeon had that just were really convicting. And again, I recognize I'm struggling to be in that prayer time consistently. So that's why it was convicting to me, I dare say. But they were very thought-provoking words. So I thought I'd share them. So the scripture for this particular devotional was Psalm 109:4, which states, "But I give myself unto prayer." And it's the devotional in general is referring to David's fervency in prayer. And there were 2 specific quotes. The first one says, "Prayer is the safest method of replying to words in hatred." And I thought, man, that's some advice we should probably all take. How quick do we respond back with harsh words when in fact, we should just go pray? And that was just kind of a reminder, like, yeah, you should do that. I think in this day and age of social media, it's so easy to sit at a keyboard and, snipe back at somebody or nitpick at something. And, we feel offended because someone said something on a post or made a comment. In reality, the best reaction is prayer. Just pray about it, So that was a good quote that I needed to be reminded of. But the closing couple sentences just really rang true for me, and I'm going to read those to you. Quote, "Prayer must not be our occasional work, but our daily business, our habit, and our vocation. As artists give themselves to their models and poets to their classical pursuits, so we must addict ourselves to prayer. We must be immersed in prayer and pray without ceasing." Oh, that's very convicting. Like I said, I know it's for me particularly, just because I am struggling to get that specific prayer time, but it must not be our occasional work, but our daily business, our habit, and our vocation. And I have to say, I think I've mentioned it, like some of the people that I admire most in my church are the women that are just prayer warriors. Like, honestly, these women, they are older, retired, empty nesters, but they just pray without ceasing, truthfully. And gosh, I just really admire that. And so I've probably fallen in that trap of like, someday that can be me. Well, no, it can be me now. I just need to make that a priority, just like my study of scripture. So it was a very convicting devotional for sure. So if you're struggling with your prayer life, right there with you. So I'm just going to continue to pray that I will pray more. But that was just very encouraging. So, okay. I think that probably kind of wraps us up for today. I'm trying to think if there was anything else I wanted to bring up, but I don't think there was. So I hope that everybody is having a wonderful week. I hope that, if you are also trying to spend more time in scripture, that you are building that habit and finding it beneficial. I know the more that I'm doing this, every day that goes on, it becomes more and more of a joy to do. And becomes more of something that I'm looking forward to versus just kind of knowing that I need to. So definitely, a habit to build. You can't underestimate how much we need to hear scripture and how much we do need to be studying it and how good it is for our soul, literally. So I encourage you guys, do it. Okay, I think that's it. So I'm going to keep it short today. It's a busy Saturday morning here at our house, so I know we've got things to do. My husband did teach me how to edit these videos, so today's video will be the one that I try by myself. So fingers crossed, we'll see what comes out of it. All right, guys. Well, remember, in everything that you do, do it to the glory of God. See you next time.